Jimmy didn't know was that Ralph was sick, a sickness of the mind. You see, Ralph was a homosexual.
Turn the friggin' frogs gay! Do the break, do the break. What do you think tap water is? It's a gay bomb, baby.
Straight white's not allowed.
A man's anus is licked like this, like ice cream.
They got stuff that'll whack your brain permanently.
And then they eat the poo-poo.
I'm sick of being social engineered. It's not funny!
I'm doing okay. Everyone the realest go round my way. High definition like a Blu-ray. Picture my monster, call me Kanye. Now break it to the left, do the break, hey. Now break it to the right, do the break, hey. Now break it to the front, do the break, hey.
Hello and welcome to the official Pete Davidson fan podcast. Today we have some exciting information of where exactly Pete Davidson is at this very moment to keep you updated on his every breath, his every step, his every punctuation. I don't fucking know. Why are you being so quiet over there? Oh, I guess I'm just doing this podcast alone. Sorry, guys.
You are if you're talking about Pete Davidson.
You're just not. You're no fun, you know? This is probably the biggest reason why no one's gonna like this podcast, is because you're a big ol' stick in the mud.
Nope.
Anyways, this is, in all seriousness, the Gay Programming Podcast. As always, I am your host, Static Scum, and with me is my beautiful, lovely co-host / boyfriend, Angsty Vegan, aka Merlin.
Hello.
It is the second episode of the Gay Programming Podcast. We loved doing the first episode so much that we were so stoked that we just had to record a second episode before even the first one had been given to you, which will be coming this Monday, and you already have it. You'll have it long before this episode is, but episodes are now officially every Monday, and I'm sure you're aware of that now, or something horribly has gone wrong and the whole plan has changed. What do you want to talk about? What is on that little gay mind of yours today that you want to discuss to these fucking meme gremlins that we've accumulated?
Well, you had a really good idea for a topic, and that was just general stuff about being in the closet, which is a very gay topic.
It is true. It's the 90% of what every gay man will face until they're 80, and then they come out of the closet and then realize that they wasted their whole lives.
Not wasted. It's never too late.
It's never too late, but sometimes you should have started earlier. I'm just joking. I don't mean to discourage anyone who's going through their own journey. If you're someone who's in the shell, there's nothing wrong with taking your amount of time. I want to stress that before we move on. Memes all aside.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, have you ever been in the closet?
Yes and no, simultaneously, all the time. How about you?
No. I mean, question mark. It's yes followed by a question mark.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel too.
Well, I guess no followed by a question mark.
Right.
But yes.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like my most common experience, and I guess I have been in the sense to different people maybe, but I think most commonly for me, I've definitely never been one of those people who's like, I'm not telling a single soul. Like, I'm always, I'll tell people I think I'm gay before I'm even sure I'm gay. But I do feel a lot of the times, especially with being trans and not looking very trans, at least not to the untrained eye, I feel a really common experience for me is I don't go out of my way to hide it by any means. I just don't take the time and mental energy to explain myself to people unprompted, so they assume I'm cis and I'm straight, and I'm just like, that's fine.
I feel like my experience of being in the closet has always been like the extent where like I've never been in the closet as far as like, oh, I was never comfortable about coming out as gay to other people or anything like that. I really didn't give a shit. No one really bothered me about it for the most part, especially when I was growing up. But the one thing I will have to say is that I have needed to like alter my experience as a gay man for other people's benefits. Like, I feel like there's a lot of people out there who, like, as soon as they find out you're gay, there's just, like, so many straight women who will go, like, yuck, queen. Mm-hmm. And they just start talking to you like that all the fucking time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, literally, you knew me as the guy who would, like, make fart jokes. And what part of you goes, like, this guy loves talking about RuPaul Drag Race?
Yeah.
Like, no, I don't. But that's not my experience. Or that's not, I don't even want to say my experience, but that's not who I am.
Right.
And, like, but now that you know I'm gay, that's, like, how you're going to do it. So I feel, and, like, in part of me, like, even just kind of cajoles them and just goes, like, yes, sister. Yeah, you got it. Just
right.
to fucking, just to fucking, like, live my life. Because I guess I'd rather that than have some guy just scream at me that I'm a faggot or something like that. But
yeah.
It's still fucking annoying.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just kind of all over the place, really. I feel like the unfortunate
Honestly,
thing...
we should just all stay in the closet. Guys, let's build a giant closet that we'll all just cuddle and cry together inside this massive closet.
I feel like the more annoying thing is...
We'll build it in Texas. Really piss them off.
Unless you're, like, the... Because as we all know, straight people don't have gaydar. They don't fucking know how any of that works.
I mean, really, practically being straight is the equivalent of being, like, mentally lobotomized in a lot of ways. That's how I feel about some of them.
But yeah, so it's like, unless you are just kind of that stereotype that you referenced, like, yeah, everyone's just gonna assume that you're like them. So, especially, like, this definitely happens to everyone, but I feel like especially if you're trans, because people are just so... in most spaces, that are so cis-normative. So, yeah.
Everywhere?
Pretty much, yeah.
Like, what place isn't cis-normative? Like, what... It's just like... Especially in America, I guess. I thought you were about to say Alabama.
No.
I just heard Al, and I'm like...
No, our
apartment. I'd love to hear your thoughts about Alabama's very progressive trans stance.
No. But yeah, it's just kind of like this weird experience where, because, I mean, one thing for me medically, as much as I'm not, like, secretive about it, and it's not like I'm ashamed of being trans or anything, but I don't always...
Though some people might want you to encourage you to be so.
There's that, but it's like, I just don't always feel like getting into it, because, I mean, if you think about the number of jobs I've had and the number of people I've met and everything, like, the amount of times I've had to explain it, I just don't. It gets old.
Yeah, it's just like every fucking time, it's just like starting with chapter 1 with these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Every day we have to start the course all over again. It's
right.
like being in 9th grade history class for the rest of your life.
Yeah. And, like, there's one problem I have a lot when, like, seeing doctors, even if it's just, like, for mental stuff, or dentists even, or, like, donating blood, anything of that nature, and it's always, like, I try to explain the necessary information with as little, like, juice as possible, so they'll be like, oh, have you had any surgeries in the last 2 years? And I'll go, yes, I've had a double mastectomy, and they'll go, what is that? And I'll go, I had my breasts removed, and they look at me like, why, do you have cancer or something? And I'm like, no.
Did you have mega cancer?
Yeah, just like, leave me alone. I told you what you needed to know, now drop it. But yeah, I mean, I guess I have totally been in situations where I've, like, with certain people, been a little less forthcoming with information. But I don't know. I mean, once I started to be more visible about it,
Well, it is kind of interesting. I think why I was really interested in the whole idea of doing, like, a closet episode on the Gay Programming Podcast was because it's pretty, like, when it comes to, like, groups, based off of, like, biological things, like black, Asian, white, straight, cis, trans, like whatever it be, that the only group that can actually have the benefit of no one knowing who they are truly is like gay people, because of the fact of like, oh, no one really needs to know we're gay, and we can stay in the closet forever. We'll be miserable, and we want to put a gun in our fucking mouth for every point of our life because we're not actually living our true selves and denying our true selves and being ashamed of our true selves or whatever. But it's kind of like the one most interesting thing, I think, about just being someone who is gay and who has like the ability of denying one's entire like community by and get away with it pretty much, as long as they don't trip up. Like if you're in the closet for the rest of your life and you are just really good, like you're Dexter from that serial killer show, you're just really good about hiding the fact that you're gay, no one needs to know, and you can just live being a, like, you know, there's really great examples of people like, do you know who Roy Cohn is?
No.
Roy Cohn, have you ever seen like Angels in America?
No.
Okay, well, Angels, god damn. I guess this is Gen Z gay versus like every other gay before, but yeah, so
it's not my generation. I just live under a rock. But go on.
Well, as a theater kid, there's a really wonderful play about the gay experience. If you haven't seen it or heard about it, it's called Angels in America. It's very great. It's super, super long, so I understand most people not wanting to watch it if they're not in the mood for like a 16-hour play. But it's really amazing, really great about the gay experience, and really in particular the AIDS epidemic that came in the 80s and all of that. So yeah, some guy had a lot to say about that, so he wrote a 16-hour masterpiece. But one of the characters it talks about is a real historical character who was good old friends with our good old buddy Donald Trump, and his name was Roy Cohn. And he was this piece of shit lawyer, just like the absolute scumbag of American like policymakers. Just like every imaginable thing that you, as a woke SJW, commie, anarchist, whatever you want to describe yourself, anyone who revolves around the orbit of the left, any possible imaginable thing that you would hate as someone on the left, Roy Cohn did it, and he did it like fucking doing coke, because he loved being evil and he loved being powerful. Literally, like he was totally that goth kid who, Bram Stoker, who loved like being evil. What?
Stoker?
I don't fucking know.
Bram Stoker?
Whatever, Dracula guy, but the guy who's like obsessed with evil. But Roy Cohn is like that. He loved the idea of him being himself being evil, and he was.
It's a very interesting interpretation of Bram Stoker as well, but continue.
Well, yeah. Okay, Roy Cohn, but he was a closeted gay man.
Right.
And he was and I do feel like there's a lot of gay people who, especially like white gay people like Roy Cohn, who are like either come to like some realization of like, oh, I'm a gay man, because Roy Cohn knew he was gay. He had a lot of gay sex. He knew very well he was gay. And he was like, oh, but hey, I want to be accepted. I want to be powerful. I want to be influential.
Right.
So there is like, I feel like a lot of propensity, especially amongst like white male gays, who go like, I will not only be a Nazi, I will be the best Nazi, because that is the only way I can truly be myself, is if I'm so powerful and evil that it doesn't fucking matter, because I'm useful to like Hitler or Donald Trump or whatever.
I mean, I think a really interesting word on that is definitely like, because I mean that's totally like a reoccurring thing. Like everyone loves to mention about like, oh yeah, those like anti-gay church leaders are always like closeted gays or whatever, which sometimes I feel like people stress that to kind of shift the blame of homophobia back onto gay people, but that's a whole other topic.
Yeah, it's all just kind of like ghost baiting. We're just like, oh, we're now woke homophobes.
Yeah.
Like, we're mad at the right gay guys.
Yeah, but there's just this kind of like interesting idea, I think, about how just kind of getting back into toxic masculinity, and I think a lot of people kind of see it that, like, you know, obviously, in a lot of ways, if you're a man, being gay is seen automatically as you being feminine or girly, and that's a problem. So I think a lot of people kind of lean into this, okay, I'm gonna be this, like, absolutely no empathy douchebag man, which, you know,
They watch Wall Street's monologue where he says greed is good, and they go like, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's right.
So I wonder if it's just kind of like this weird overcorrecting, trying to compensate for it kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, because if there's anything that white gay men tend to be is overcompensating. Just look at Mayor Pete.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, I think it's just like, it's like so sad because it's just like, you know, we always laugh about this, but, you know, another person, he's not closeted, but he is like a openly gay man who's trying so desperately to like earn good boy brownie points with these like utter fucking monster homophobes. What's his fucking name? I always forget it.
I don't remember, but I know exactly
Reuben.
who you're talking
Paul
about.
Matt Reuben. I'm gonna just edit it in right here.
Dave Rubin.
That guy, the gay piece of shit who's just like, I'm not a conservative, I'm a classical liberal.
Right.
Whatever. I remember there's like, you know, I can't remember exactly how it went, but how the gist of it is just like he had Ben Shapiro on, and he was like, you know, it's so interesting that people keep saying that you hate gay people, but you're on my show, and I am an openly gay man, so clearly you're comfortable with me having a husband. And Ben Shapiro like just stares at him like with his typical gremlin fucking look and just goes, no, I don't respect you. I don't like you. You're a piece of shit. I only use you because you're useful to me. And just like fucking he shakes his empty fucking bimbo dilf head and he goes like, that's a great point. I never thought about it like that. I am horrible.
I feel like we need to clarify these are not direct quotes. Benny Boy, don't sue us.
Fuck you. I don't give a shit. He doesn't give a shit.
No, I know, but
about
it's just
anything.
so funny.
Literally on a daily basis, the motherfucker opens up like Twitter and it's like filled with people going like, you don't have sex with your wife. You don't have sex with your wife. You're a fucking manlet. You fucking little short dweeb.
And they're all right.
Yeah, they're absolutely right. And that's what he does. You know, Ben is the Wicker Man of our society. We put him in a giant fucking Twitter statue and we burn it alive as we sing and hold hands.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, like, I guess I just kind of feel like I don't really have one kind of experience. So I've always been and this used to kind of cause me a bit of problems because I don't know if you remember, actually, of course you remember, why wouldn't you? The Pulse shooting that happened. That nightclub, I think it was in Orlando.
Oh, Pulse.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Orlando shooting.
Yeah.
I can't remember what year, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I think it was around 2016, somewhere around there.
Yeah, it was pre-COVID, and it was like just around when Donald Trump got elected, so it was in that like huge media cycle of like the Nazis are on the march.
Yeah, well, I remember, you know, at the time, I was like pre-everything, and I had a girlfriend, and I remember we were both, you know, her more so than I was, because, you know, she had a bit of a different home situation than I did, but not going into all of that, she was very, like, oh man, like, I'm very kind of scared. Like, what if we're just holding hands at the mall and then someone decides they want to shoot us or something? Which is a lot for a 13-year-old to be thinking about. I always kind of had this feeling of, like, I'd rather die for who I am than live as someone I'm not.
Mm.
And it kind of makes me think about what happened when we were in Missouri, which is a whole story if you would like to share that with everyone. But,
I mean, sure, we can go into it. I mean, Missouri, basically...
you gotta put a trigger warning in the description.
Trigger warning, I mean, yeah, if you're, like, actually affected by, like, real stories of, like,
Nothing
homophobia.
violent.
No, we didn't have any, like, again, we didn't have the redneck boys going like, oh, you get it, I can, boy. Like, it was like real homophobia that people actually face on a daily basis or whatever. But, yeah, no, like, basically the moral of the story, fuck Missouri. It's the worst swamp piece of shit state in the whole union. I know everybody says, like, oh, it's Florida or it's Alabama or it's Mississippi. Guys, literally the state is so close to just being called misery. And we need to, like, conceptualize that. That's a real statement for it. But anyways, basically we traveled across the country. We were from Florida. We moved all the way over to Oregon, Portland.
Oregon, Portland.
Yeah, Oregon, Portland. The city of Oregon in the state of Portland.
That's how some people see it.
Yeah. And, but we basically took, like, 2 weeks. We could have, like, honestly made the trip in, like, probably a week if we really did. But we were like, fuck it. We haven't done a big old journey together. We're together. Let's have a 2-week adventure across America. So we went through all stops. I don't even remember what we were stopping to see in Missouri. Were we just
It was
passing
that dumb fucking
through?
motel.
Which motel?
The retro one it was on Route 66.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh
Yeah.
the whole reason we went to this place, to the shithole Missouri.
They had this cool neon sign, and I like pretty lights.
Yeah, there was this place called the Munger Moss Motel. If I'm absolutely fine with saying it, you can go to their Google review and leave a nasty review if you feel. I did, Merlin did, and make it fun, make up some stuff. I don't care. But anyways, yeah, we go to this place because it's just like it's this. I don't even like. It's exactly what, like, gay shit Merlin would really like. Where it's just like chic. You go there because it's, like, aesthetically pleasing.
Well, honestly, like, the actual motel literally wasn't even. It was, the only appeal was that it had been there for a long fucking time, and they had this big retro sign outside.
Yeah, it's like it's always been run by this little piece of shit old lady. And her stupid fucking family. She's been running this piece of shit, big, ugly, hole-in-the-wall hotel that has a cool retro sign. Anyway, so the whole reason we go to the shit fucking state of Missouri is to go stay at this Munger Moss Motel because Merlin wanted to stay there. And we get there, and basically the place is empty. We don't see any fucking, like, cars any fucking where. There's, like, the place is like probably like 5 people are staying there in a place that has, like, probably the capacity of having, like, 200 individual rooms. So we get there, and basically this old woman, we go to the front office, and she just, like, again, this is a front desk of a business, and she just tells 2 customers who walked in, "What do you want? What do you want?" Through her, like, fucking monobrow. And she fucking, like, just walks up to us, and Merlin, very nice, very sweet, so it's like, well, you see, we scheduled a room for this time, and we're just here to check in.
Don't sound like that.
Yeah, well, but you were being very overly sweet and very nice, because clearly this, like, bog monster was, like, staring at us like we were, like, 2 fucking, like, I don't know, literally, like, tieflings or something. I don't fucking know. We were like demons to her.
Yeah.
And she goes like, "I don't remember scheduling anything recently, but I'll go check." And
I'm so sorry if you're wearing headphones.
I don't give a shit, because that's what she sounded like. And basically she goes back and she's like, "What's your name?" And now, mind you, again, his fucking name is Merlin, like the goddamn wizard. It's not very hard to, like, be like, "Oh, was it Scott? Was it Tyler? Was it Daniel?" No, she just had a hard time, because, again, like, she probably only has, like, 3 words in her vocabulary. And, yeah, like, anyways, basically the story is she comes out, she goes like, "Oh, we didn't sign anything." She goes like, like, oh, you're gonna just have to leave because I didn't schedule anything. We're closed. And you were like showing her the fucking email of us scheduling, and she's like, I don't care.
Yeah, I had the confirmation number, and I was like, because like even if, because like you said, the place is empty, so I was like, even if you don't remember the appointment, like
there are rooms available.
You have, so I was kind of like, oh, okay,
and we have money. But
yeah.
Apparently this bitch doesn't want to make money because she's a stupid businesswoman.
Yeah, so we just ended up leaving, and we're like in the car in a state that we've never been to, and we're just like, well, I guess we'll just start frantically Googling nearby hotel chains off of Route 66 in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, and thankfully there was like a hotel right next to that place that we were able to stay at, but like just, yeah, no, I mean, and there was like some other weird shit we experienced like before, of like some weird stares of like people looking at like t-shirts of like, that had like gay symbols and stuff like that, and there was literally like some bikers there where I'm like, these guys are Nazis. These guys are straight up like heroin addicted Nazis. And that's really all Missouri is. Just heroin addicted motorcyclists, dipshit conservatives in St. Louis sniffing their own farts. And yeah, I mean, that's really like it. That's really all Missouri could ever provide. Oh yeah, and the piece of shit hotel run by a dumb old bitch in Missouri called the Munger Moss Motel. Probably what she named her asshole, honestly. It sounds like what it is, Munger Moss. Fuck that whore.
Oh my god, you're so aggressive.
I hate her.
As you can tell, Nick's very unamused about it all.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so as the whole reason I brought it up was just, that was such kind of an experience because, it was one of those moments that I even remember talking to my dad about it, and one thing that he said to me was like, because, I was wearing, like a trans pride, it was for like a radio station that was, queer focused, basically. And one thing that my dad said to me was like, change your shirt, just don't wear it. And I think you even kind of said the same thing. And I just felt weird because I know like it's not a big deal. It's a t-shirt. It doesn't change anything about me, obviously. But I always just get this strong sense of like, nah, fuck you. I'm wearing what I'm wearing, and the consequences that come from that I'll deal with. But
I guess that is kind of the one big difference between me and you. As far, I guess I would say I'm a little bit more, I wouldn't say in the closeted, but I am just like more aware of like, oh, there is some like really dumb motherfuckers out there, and not even like to the extent I'm worried about like, oh, the like people like killing me or anything, but just like small convenience shit where I'm just like, man, I literally just walked 30 minutes to just get a pack of cigarettes, and now this dipshit is like saying like, I ain't provide no service to someone who has a cab and a gay flag on their jacket. Like, I ain't doing that, motherfucker. Like, I fucking don't like dealing with those situations so fucking hard. Not because I'm afraid of them.
Yeah.
Because I just don't want to interact with them. Because they're fucking, again, Neanderthals. They're idiots. And I don't want to, like, I want my limitation to be as minimal and as pleasant as possible.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I think I'm kind of more, like, obviously, I will admit, stuff like that can definitely, even if it is small shit like that, I can get a little freaked out sometimes. Just because, and, I don't know if this is, like, unnecessarily paranoid sounding of me, but it is just kind of this real fear of being, like, you never know the way shit like that can escalate, but, at the same time, sometimes I am just kind of, like, I want to be so loudly and obnoxiously queer. I want to ruin all of these people's day.
That's why we escaped to the West Coast, where people are a little bit more enlightened about us sisters who are just trying to spread our stripes.
Yeah, definitely.
Fuck these people. I hate them too.
But yeah, so I mean, I guess that's just kind of a weird thought on being in the closet, because, like, I feel like prior to experiencing stuff like that, whether it was, back from the Pulse shooting or anything like that, like, I never really wanted to be, like, I never saw any benefit to it at all. And, like, obviously, I've been through small shit, like, I remember when I was in middle school, one of my friends being like, I can't believe people are like gossiping around about whether or not you're gay because you're literally wearing a rainbow earring right now. And I was just like, people are gossiping about whether or not I'm gay? Because I don't know, like I just never...
I love that, like, why, again, straight people are just so obsessed with, like, are they gay? Who's gay?
Yeah.
Who's the gay? Is Dan gay? I think Dan's gay because he is dating a woman right now, so he's probably gay.
And I think that's honestly probably a big, like... I feel like it's both a big drawback to being in the closet and also a big reason people do, because, like, it sucks because, you know, when you're just trying to keep that part of your life private and everyone's so inquisitive about it and you're just like, can you back the fuck off, please?
And wants to be so loud in their support of it because they have, like, this deep, settling uncomfortableness. This discomfort of, like, even the people who do accept, who aren't, like, genuinely, like, may not be, like, directly racist or they may not be directly homophobic, but are just, like, really just fucking weird about being with anyone who isn't like them and being really congenial with them and being like, you know, the classic joke of like, you know, every time you bring a black boyfriend, your like dad or mom goes like, I voted for Obama. Like just weird things like that.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, you know, with gay stuff, it's like oh, I love RuPaul.
Yeah.
Like, RuPaul is my shit, dude. Like you must watch it, too, because, like, he's your guy. Like,
yeah. Like, I remember, there's one straight woman I associate with regularly, and I love her to death. And, you know, she was just kind of, and, you know, she's being very polite, like, do you mind if I ask you about, you know, your transness, your surgeries, your transition? Like, do you mind if I just ask about that? And I was like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. And we were talking, and it was a great conversation, you know. I'm always happy to, like, enlighten people with my experiences or whatever. But, like, it was so funny because she was talking about this show that she watched. And it's not RuPaul, but from what I heard, it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, like, when we say RuPaul, like, that's certainly one part of it, but there's a whole market to this.
Yeah.
And it isn't even really directly for gay people.
Yeah.
It's for straight people who really want to be gay.
Right, yeah, no, and she was talking about, I guess, just this one drag queen on the show who she loves, and she describes her by going, she is just so fabulous. And I was just like, God. Mm-hmm. Every time straight people use the word fabulous, I'm just like, can you stop it? Just don't.
It is like really horrible. It's like, I remember when that was like becoming a real, I'm sure maybe it was always a thing, but like that was when I heard like all these like white women in theaters going like, girl, you're just fabulous.
Yeah,
like,
right.
And I'm like, oh god, just shut the fuck up. I wish that had like the same intensity of like someone saying like, I don't know, racial slur. Like I just don't want people saying it.
I guess my version of that was always like people looking at me and being like, oh my god, you're just such a small bean little femboy baby, little trans baby man, you're so handsome. And I'm like, I'm not a 10-year-old dressed up for Easter's church, like,
yeah, I'm the only one who's allowed to do that, because I'm his boyfriend and I can kiss him on the cheek while I do it. We're like, you a baby, you just biggest baby in the whole world.
Such a, like, conundrum of people, like, I've talked about this before, but just kind of like
well, you do know what I do, and I'm mostly just joking.
Oh, yeah, no, you're fine.
Like, I know you do genuinely have this, like, discomfort of, like, of being like, oh god, I do, like, am I just too damn cute? Am I too damn cute, honestly? But, I you know, again, I honestly do think, like, you know, only a few years ago, I had also baby face, extreme baby face. Like, it's just a thing of everyone looks like a child until they're like, I don't know, 26. And then, like, they slowly start becoming less childlike.
Well, nah, I mean, like, I feel like the only reason I ever really had a problem with it was just when I could tell it was being done because people perceived me as, like, man-liked, or, like, you know, whatever. And I feel like I literally mentioned this the exact last episode. But, yeah, so, I mean, I guess that's another kind of reason I might have been a little in the closet, was both that...
As far as your, like, transness?
Yeah, because I was just kind of like, I just don't want people being weird with me.
Yeah, I just don't want straight people being weird with me.
I know, that's... Yeah. But I think another reason was, again, another thing I mentioned last episode, where, again, I was just kind of like, you know, like 15 and being like, oh man, all of these other dudes are thinking I'm a hot girl and I don't want to, like, fuck that up for myself. I got a good thing going here. So I was like, maybe if I just postpone it. And thinking of middle school is bringing back memories for me, unfortunately. But I think one of the other, like, kind of close to being in the closet things was, I remember very distinctly in 7th grade, I somehow got weaseled into, like, you know, the, like, quote-unquote fucking, like, popular Mean Girls, like, friend group situation.
On Wednesdays, we wear pink.
Yeah, no, like, pretty much. And I just remember, because, like, you know, I was definitely...
You're their token gay.
I was the token gay. I was the token gay, except none of them were aware of it.
The token closet. Every group needs one.
There you go. And I do remember, like, they were all talking about just, like, I don't know, like, talking about their boyfriends and just very, like, straight cis topics, you know, that my entire life I never really grasped. And they'd be talking about that stuff.
Examples?
Examples? No.
Yeah.
I wiped it all from my brain.
I mean, probably good, yeah.
I don't know, just, like, it was just this weird thing where I felt like I never interacted with anyone who was like that. Because, like, growing up, all of my fucking friends are, like, the weird little outcasts who, like...
Yeah, the, like, Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah. No offense to my childhood friends.
Yeah, you fucking weirdos. Fucking smelled weird, too. Well, I was with the popular girls.
But yeah, so I think I remember feeling kind of like, damn, like, I wish I was a straight woman, because they all sound so excited to be that way, and they're so...
They're just so happy in their small little box.
Yeah.
And I do wish that.
I was like, man, I wish my life was that easy.
I know, yeah.
I wish I could just wear a push-up bra and flip my hair and get all the boys.
Don't you wish that, like, when you were being born, there was just, like, a little pop-up ad, like, before you left the vagina, where it's just like, are you sure? Are you sure? Like,
well, maybe there was.
Before, like, after you leave, there will not be a time to change this, so...
Maybe there was, but I was an emergency C-section, so I never went out the vagina. I couldn't get the pop-up.
Yeah, you were just, like, speed ran through that. You were, like, clicking A on it. It's like, I will be gay! I will be gay!
Yeah.
Trans.
I, like... checked the box for having read the terms and conditions without actually reading them.
We get it. I want porn already.
No. Yeah, man, we really got off topic with this one. This has been less the closet.
Like, honestly, there is no topic on this. This is, like, for all intents and purposes, we're just, like, a schizophrenic podcast. We're just gonna shift between topics until eventually we hit an hour, and then we have to decompress.
I would love to remind you that's not what schizophrenia is.
No, that's, I've watched a lot of Hollywood movies that seem to attest to my interpretation of limited information of schizophrenia.
Nobody cancel us. I'm literally diagnosed with schizophrenia.
Yeah, so it's cool. It's cool. It's cool, guys. I'm good with you. I'm just joking. I'm joshing. I'm one of the guys.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I mean, it's just like, It's a lot. I feel like that's just kind of the general message that comes back from all of our stories. Is just being like, man, being queer is a lot.
Yeah, that really should be the tagline of our podcast. It's a lot.
Yeah. Is it good? Is it bad? It just is.
Yeah, that's a pretty good tagline. We should make that into a shirt. That's a thing.
But like, I don't know. Have you ever, like, I know you talked about, avoiding inconvenience, but have you ever...
How consumer of me. What a true American I am. If I can't go to the Sonic and enjoy myself some shit food, what is life worth?
But do you have any experiences, not even necessarily just being in the closet, but just of, like, selective with information?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, definitely. Now I'm, like, pretty open about me being, like, a cross-dresser to, like, some extent. But, like, there was definitely, like, a lot of times where, like, I would never share, like, any information. Like, I'm horrified of leaving the apartment with anything that does not completely cover my legs.
Mm-hmm.
But, I love short shorts, and I love booty shorts, and I love the idea of showing that little piece of ass right at the bottom, but even though I have none to show, it would just be like Hank Hill wearing that. But, I do love those kind of things. But, yeah, I mean, definitely early on, like, to a certain capacity where, like, I don't really, like, want to go anywhere. I don't want to, like, go out and eat and have booty shorts on, like, personally. But, like, even when I was there, I would never share that information. It would just be, like, clothes I would have in, like, the back little dark corner of my closet that, I hope my parents would never find and be like, we need to talk about this, sir. Like, are you having girls over? And I'm like, I am the girls.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of the opposite problem. Like, I forced my mom to be very aware.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember, I was literally, like, I think either 12 or 13, and, she would, like, we'd be at, like, fucking Walmart together, and I'd be like, Mom, I need underwear, and she'd be like, alright, let's go to the underwear, and I'd be like, no, I want to get boxers, and she would just get so uncomfortable, like, are you sure? And she'd be like, though, like, you're a girl,
don't you know,
right?
boxer briefs are better?
She'd just be like, you know that you're a girl and you're not like a boy, right? And I'd just be like, yeah, whatever, boxers now. Like, I was just very...
Why boxers, man? Boxers are like, okay, I know this has nothing to do with, like, any gay topic, but, like, boxers are, like, low-key worse.
Oh, sure they are, but when you're, like, 12 years old learning how to, like, learning how male clothes work.
That's literally, I mean, that was, like, my idea of, like, I want to try wearing panties. What panties should I wear? Thong. That's what everyone wears.
Oh, no.
That would work well with a penis.
No. Yeah, definitely not. So, yeah, I mean, like... I guess that just kind of really goes to show, like, how different, I don't know, experiences are.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just find that so interesting.
Yeah. Everybody, we should ask more questions of our neighbors.
Or less questions if you're annoying them.
Yeah, that's true. If you suck, don't ask questions. But if you're cool, ask questions and learn about your neighbors.
Yeah.
And if you suck, just... fucking read books. I don't know. Just, like, read books until you're cool enough and then come talk to us.
Right.
And if not, then, just suck and hang. There's plenty of people who suck out there who are going to be happy with hanging out with you sucking and not being... like, there's plenty of, like, straight Nazis out there. Just hang out with them.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. Just don't annoy me. That's my biggest goal in this, is just don't talk to me. Don't bother me. Don't go on my trans memes on Instagram with the real static scum and be like, I have a point to make. Did you know that X chromosome, Y chromosome? I don't give a shit. Just fuck off. Go somewhere who fucking appreciates you, because I don't.
Man, honestly, what the fuck even is a chromosome? You know what I mean? Like
a really cool sounding name for a band. That's what I fucking know about it, dude. White Claw!
Yeah, no, it's just, yeah. I feel like the takeaways, I feel like all of, like, the deep stuff aside, and I guess, you know, I totally don't say anything here to, like, belittle people who, like, literally have to be in the closet, because, like, they will become disowned and homeless, or murdered,
Or executed.
Or, like, yeah. I want to stress that, like, obviously there's so many reasons to be either out or in the closet, and, you know, even if it's just, like, I don't want people bothering me, that is just as valid of a reason, and I think, especially, not to get too boomery here, but, with social media and everything, I think, and also, you know, the fact that everyone with their phones is, like, literally available to be contacted, like, 24/7, there's this kind of expectation to let people know everything about you, and I feel like the size of people's private lives has been kind of shrinking.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, and I just kind of want to make a point of saying, like, if you don't even have a reason and you just don't feel like telling people, that's not a problem. It doesn't mean that you're, like, doing a disservice to your community or anything. Like, be as forthcoming with people about that as you want.
Yeah, because I do think, I do agree with you totally, where we have gotten to a point where everybody has to share everything.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
cue up the awful, like, web comic where it's like, you may think drugs are bad, but think about Twitter. Isn't that just another cocaine? You know, just like that horse shit, like, of, but I mean, it is kind of true in a way, where it's just like everybody's, like, so obsessed with sharing everything, that the only way anything is valid, the only way anything can be truly a great experience in your life is if you post it on Instagram, or if you post it on Facebook, or you make a YouTube video about it, or stuff like that. And I mean, like, if that's your way of coming out and you really need that, or if you're like just me, who are, like, really, I should say us now, like, we're people who are using social media to share our gay experience and all that stuff. That's all fine. That's all fine. If you use that, that's great. I think that's kind of the magic of social media and sharing.
Right.
But, you know, also to the other end, don't feel bad if you don't feel like doing that. Don't feel bad if you're like, oh, I don't want to go on Instagram and be like, I'm gay as fuck, motherfucker, yeah, like, I'm gay. Gay flag. Like, just, like, if that's not you, that's fine. And if you're even someone who isn't, like, comfortable yet with coming out, even, nothing wrong with that. There's no, you know, again, I know I joked earlier, it was just like, oh, if you're 80, like, it's just too late. Like, don't actually think that.
Yeah.
Never think that. Because, like, it's your journey, and there's never a time for that.
Yeah, and I guess another thing that's really good to touch on while we're being all deep and sentimental that is definitely not talked about enough. Coming out multiple times is so fucking good and okay.
That you're, like, you're taking back, or, like, yeah, you're a person who's evolving. You're gonna realize more stuff. Like, it's not like, oh, I'm 16, found out I'm gay, and that was it. We cracked the code, gentlemen. I'm a 16-year-old who figured it out.
Right. Not to, like, obviously invalidate younger people, but also it's just, like, yeah, like, come out as many times as you need to, try out as many different labels as you need to, like, fuck, even with me, like, Merlin, the name I use now, that is now becoming my legal name, like, that was not the first name that I used when I came out and decided I didn't want to go by my birth name, and I felt like, at the time, I was very like, oh my god, like, I don't want to bother people by, like, asking them to call me this name, but then asking them to call me Merlin, and, like, whatever, and I was just, but in retrospect, like, it just was the right thing to do, and if anyone has, like, a problem with you figuring yourself out, then guess what, they kind of suck. And that goes for anything, not even just queerness, but...
Yeah, you know, just kind of adding on where, like, I agree with you on that, where it's just, like, what I'm saying, where it's just, like, I'm not undermining people who, like, oh, find out something about themselves when they're young or something like that. Like, I'm just saying to the extent where no one, like, you know, just look at your parents' yearbook photos, or just go through their old photos and stuff like that. Are they the same people that they are right now? Maybe closer to some than others, but most of the time, no. They went through a hippie phase. They went through a goth phase. They were a tech nerd at one time. They wanted to start a band at one point. There's, you know, the chapters of human life. And, you know, a lot of people would just say, like, oh, the gay experience is like, oh, you find out you like the same sex, and that's it.
Yeah.
Bam, done. But no, it's a human evolution. You change with time, like everything else.
Yeah.
It's the human experience. And whether people like to acknowledge this or not, but being gay is a fucking human experience. Not everyone experiences, but it is an experience all the same.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. There's just nothing wrong with the way you do things. As long as you're not hurting anyone. That's the big rule. But
yeah, the golden rules. Don't hurt anybody.
no, but just like, yeah. I just feel like that's really not said enough, because I think there's this kind of big stress amongst queer people to kind of take up as little space with it as possible, you know? You never want to be the annoying person who makes a big deal out of everything. But I don't know, I think it should be more encouraged to take up more space. And I believe that way about a lot of things. Like, even if, you know, you need to take a mental health day off work and you're like, I don't want to inconvenience everybody. Like, screw it, dude, you need it. That's okay, you're a human person who needs things. And it definitely applies to being trans or being queer. Like, if you need things, then you need things, and that's okay. You're allowed to rely on people. You're allowed to figure yourself out. And if you want to, like, if to you it feels selfish, then be selfish, you know? Like, that's fine. And I just think that needs to be shared a lot more, because it could save a lot of people probably a lot of headache.
Pitches. I mean, I'm going to give you the normal spiel. I have an Instagram where I upload memes almost every single day. It is at therealstaticscum. Come enjoy and bask in the glory of me, build up that count. We also have my TikTok. I upload that pretty frequently as well. That is just called Static Scum. And my YouTube channel, which is also just called Static Scum. Where I will be uploading more stuff very soon. Exciting stuff coming your way on that channel, but I'll leave you to find it as it comes. Merlin is Angsty Vegan on Instagram. It's still private as of right now, but maybe, as we've discussed, maybe it might be going public. At this point, too, we do have the Gay Programming Instagram, which is also run mostly by Merlin most of the time. And yeah, so you can go follow that. You can also buy Merlin's book, which is called...
Oh god, what the fuck is it called? I didn't think you'd be quizzing me.
What a great pitch.
It's called Self-Help for Real this time.
Self-Help for Real this time. So we'll have a link down there if you want to read it. It's a good little interesting book if you want to support a good writer trying to get you to feel good about yourself. Yeah, and yeah, pretty much new episodes are going to be every other Monday on upload. Maybe the day may shift as our schedules update with life, but all intents and purposes, new episodes are going to be every other week. So yeah, enjoy that. This was the second one about being in the closet. As always, we love you, stay safe, and we'll see you again real soon.
Bye-bye.
Oh my God.